Hey everybody, it's your boy Schneider1 with Schneider Elite Gaming, bringing you a response video. Now, I wanted to do a quick shout out / respect out to my boy, Heknows Hissports. I got mad respect for you, dude, and what you're doing in YouTube land. Just the fact that you don't shy away from confrontation. You hold your position well, and no matter what anybody says, you don't stop saying what you're saying. And I love that about you. It creates a platform for debate. It creates intriguing conversations, and overall, that's the whole reason why I'm even doing this video. I got suckered into a conversation that you had going with Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence, and now here I am. You know, I know you did a shout out for me with in the comment section, and then you did in your video. You started breaking down some of the points that I had kind of like spit out there in order to get people thinking and talking. And obviously, you know, I did a good job because you were able to see those points and try to give me some perspective as to where you're coming from. Now, normally when two guys are talking about sports and they have altered or different opinions on something or a different viewpoint, the other person, you know, whenever someone starts snipping at them, they got to snip back. And that's my point. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take little itty-bitty clips of what you said to me, and I'm going to give you my opinion on them, try to establish some kind of common ground, and then I'm going to assert my position that Mikey's not going to just get walked over. He's a 4-division world champion for a reason. He's 39-0. Like, the guy is going to put up a fight, and the fight's going to be a good one. So good, in fact, I believe that this fight is actually going to be a staple in both their careers. It's actually legacy defining for Mikey, and I think it's going to give Errol Spence the opportunity to showcase some skill sets that people didn't even know that he had. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's get into the response, and then hopefully at the end of this thing, we could drive some conversation, get some debates going, and maybe, just maybe, I can convert some of you Spence lovers to really kind of, you know, be watching out for Mikey Garcia. Now, you said,
I'm sorry, man. Mikey Garcia don't have the boxing skills that Errol Spence possess.
Now, if you had said that he had physical attributes or he had athletic ability / talents, whether it be like height, reach, power, stuff like that, I would be in line to stay in my lane and be 100%, you know, yeah, I can agree with that. But the fact that you said skills, right? Boxing skills. I think the connotation that you're going for there is kind of the wrong iteration. Like, it's not the right wordage. And the reason why I say that is because there's not one professional, whether it be a writer, a champion, a trainer, that is giving Errol Spence the nod because of his boxing skills, because his technical ability, the things that you learn, the fundamentals. They're not saying he's going to win because of those things. They're saying he's going to win because he's bigger, because he's stronger, because he's a 160-pound man dropping to 147 to fight. That's why they're saying that he's winning.
Both got strong minds, but, you know, Errol being so much bigger. If I had to bet money, I'd probably put it on Errol. But, you know, Mikey, he's a guy you can't count out.
I'm going to go Errol Spence by murder. Errol's too big, too strong. Mikey Garcia coming up in weight. You know, I think it's a bad fight for him. I know he's chasing money and legacy, but, you know, this is a bad decision for Mikey Garcia.
Too big. I know in boxing the size matters, but I just feel like Mikey's just...
I mean, I'm not trying to deter your choice.
No, my choice doesn't matter anyways, but I just feel like Mikey's 2 steps ahead. Mentally.
Look, Mikey Garcia a better boxer than Spence, in my opinion. But Mikey Garcia way smaller. So, and Spence is like,
Yeah, he's big.
you know.
That's why they're saying that he's winning, not because of his boxing prowess. And so I wanted to make that assertion that, you know, size and power are not learned skills. Those are things that you're born with. And with that, I think that, you know, that was the first snippet that you got me with, that I was just, I gotta respond to it. Now, at the 232 mark in that video, you also went on to say,
No shout outs to Snyder. Bring in Mikey Garcia's resume, please, man. Who has this guy fought? I'm gonna say that again. When you mention Salido, notable win. Salido was battle worn, man. That guy was starting to get over the hill, and he bled up Mikey Garcia. Bled that dude's nose up.
I can't agree with that, and the reason why I can't agree with that is because Salido beat Lomachenko after he lost to Garcia. So if he was battle worn, that would mean that Salido wasn't able to compete at a high enough level. He was worn down. He wasn't as good as he once was. That he's missing a step. Like the degradation where like the breakdown on his ability is starting to falter. He's starting to, his skills or his level isn't like where it used to be. It's lowering. If that was the case, he wouldn't be able to beat Lomachenko after losing to Garcia. So I think that because he beat Lomachenko after Garcia, it shows that, you know, he's still fighting at a high level, and it brings some credit to Mikey, especially with all the guys that are saying, oh, he's ducking Loma, he won't fight Loma. Well, he beat somebody that beat Loma, and he wasn't going to wait for Loma to make a fight. He's tracing greatness. He's trying to be a great fighter. Now, with that being said, the next part of that little that nitpick, or that part where you said that Salido bloodied freaking Mikey Garcia. If you watched the fight, you would know that the only reason why Mikey was bloodied was because of a headbutt. Salido headbutted Mikey. Whether it was intentional, unintentional, it doesn't really matter because Salido lost. But up until that point, it wasn't like Mikey was getting outboxed, outpunched, and just totally fucked up. Like, that's not what was going on. Mikey was boxing a beautiful match the entire way through. Like, if anything, for all you boxing fans who really like old fights and seeing and doing research on old fighters or older fights that aren't current, I would challenge you to go look at the Salido fight, because that's probably the first fight that Mikey truly, you know, made a really good step up in competition and really showcased what he has to offer to the boxing world. Now, the next clip.
Lipinets. You know, Lipinets is a respectable boxer, but at his weight class.
Now, you said that Lipnitz is respectable for his weight class. Now, I'm not trying to paraphrase or try to cherry pick because you were going in a different direction, but something I want to point out is that's a very dynamic statement, and it was beautifully worded in the sense that it's definitely showcasing / crafting / illustrating a point most boxing enthusiasts just forget to acknowledge. And that's within each weight class, men are deemed as equals, or as equal as rules could make it, in order to ensure that the match is fair. Now, that fairness is what gives people and judges the ability to really see whether or not which fighter is better, skills-wise. Who has the better boxing skills? Who's the better fighter? They're not basing their judgments based off of physical characteristics that you were born with. It was, what did you learn? How do you fight? And who was better? Now, the respectable part comes in where, you know, most people drop weight to fight in a weight class in order to have some kind of advantage in that weight class. They want to be the best they possibly can be within that weight class, and that's what makes them respectable. Now, I would go on to argue that all of Mikey's fights within their weight class were respectable, because most of those guys that he fought were dropping weight to stay in the division to be competitive for a championship. That's what most fighters do. Even Errol Spence does that. He drops weight to be competitive in a weight class so that he can be a champion. That's the typical route to becoming a champion. Now, Heknows Hissports knows with increased weight comes increased advantages, whether it be power, reach, height, things that you can use to your advantage that you were born with. And that's the whole foundation for his entire argument concerning Spence. And this is magnified because Spence, he's not just dropping one weight class in order to compete in a division. The dude's possibly dropping 2 weight classes in order to do that. Now, this is where my argument starts to try to take shape. I'm going to start talking about Mikey and kind of try to insert this position based off of the basis or the foundation that Heknows Hissports has illustrated with the weight classes and moving up and how you're gaining so much from each weight class. And this is where I'm at. Now keep this in mind, okay? This idea that fighters want to be respectable within their weight class. Now I equate this to being a competitor, being competitive. People want to be a champion, and there are plenty of people that have challenged for a championship and never got it. So you want as many advantages as you could possibly have just so you can become a world champion. Now, I'm going to label this as being a respectable fighter within your weight class. Someone who drops weight in order to have all the advantages physically in order to impose their will on their division. Okay? Now, with that being said, Mikey Garcia's starting weight class is 126. That's where he wanted to be a respectable fighter. He dropped weight so that he could be competitive at that weight class. It's the equivalent of Errol Spence's 147. He drops weight in order to fight and be competitive for a championship. That's the starting mark for both fighters. But for now, we're just going to kind of slide Errol Spence off to the side and just talk for Mikey a little bit. Now, Mikey fought at 126, got his championship, and had all the advantages. Okay? Then he moved up to 130. Foregoed all advantages. All height, reach, power, all that stuff. Got rid of all of it. And upgraded his competition. Gave them the ability to have height, reach, power, weight, all that stuff. Just the natural abilities or attributes required for them to be competitive at that division. So guys that are coming in with trying to be good for their division, and he beat them. Then he went on to 135, beat them. Then he did it again at 140, beat them. And now we're at a point where Mikey's now at 147 with Errol Spence. Okay? So the thing I want you guys to realize is during Mikey's career, this whole journey that he's got going for him, in order for a boxer to go through that many opportunities, who's has gone through so much as far as welcoming disadvantages, giving his opponents the nod for an upgrade. Hey, you can have weight, you can have height, you can have reach, you can have all these physical things, and he still won. Now, when you have something like that, when you forego all your physical attributes that give you an advantage, there's only one thing that's carrying you out the other side, and that's your learned boxing skills. Okay, so we can assume that it's Mikey's strong fundamentals combined with his patience, along with his style, that puncher boxer style that he's got, that it allows him to adapt and overcome multiple weight classes. That's creating a resume that just people just don't do that. He's one of 3 people in all of history to do that for 126 through 140 pounds. And the names are guys that are going to go in the Hall of Fame. Pacquiao, come on. Just to reassert my position that this is not going to be a lopsided, dumb victory for Spence and he's going to just trounce Mikey, I'm gonna just break it down real quick and then we'll be out of here and I'll get out of you guys' hair. Now, when you have history of welcoming disadvantages, moving up weight classes, and proving time and time again that you can win under the same pretenses this fight has, how can you question whether or not he's going to be able to fight in this match? I think those, his history, his track record, it proves that this is a 50-50 fight because he's proven he was able to do it before, and there's a good chance that he's going to do it again. Just the fact that he's 39-0 with 30 knockouts, his style of boxing works, and it's not something to scoff at. My second point is the reason why this isn't as lopsided of a weight thing that people may be trying to make it out to be. In March, you're going to have 2 men that go into the weigh-in, and they will be deemed equals, or as close to equals as humanly possible the rules can make it. And after that, when they go to fight, sure, Errol Spence is gonna gain some weight back, but it's gonna be no different than all the weight that's been gained back from all the other fights that Mikey has had in other weight classes. It's gonna be no different because there's only so much weight you can gain back in the time frame. That's how they can kind of justify the fairness of this match. And just as like a side note, when Mikey was fighting 140 pounders, that's the equivalent of Errol Spence's being in the 126 pound division. So every time he upgrades, every time he goes up, the circumstances are relatively the same. So you shouldn't be counting too much on that. Now, it's going to come down to fundamentals, techniques, his versus his, and whose techniques are better. And my money, if I was going to put anything on anybody, it would be Mikey Garcia. Just because Mikey Garcia's got the history, he's got the lineage, his brothers, cousins are champions. He's a champion. His father knows boxing. Just their camp alone has trained more boxers that are champions. Like it's out of control. It's proven. It works. And if that's not enough for you, just Mikey Garcia's trainer, Robert Garcia. With fighters to fighter comparison to like Freddie Roach, who's a Hall of Fame guy, Robert Garcia has more wins. So just from a training aspect, he's got the trainers, he's got the sparring partners, he's got the lineage. He's a package deal, man. And so I would not count him out at all. Now, my Rudy Poo moment of the day, you can give me the plum for this. Mikey's unified championships. He's moved up multiple weight classes, and he's even dethroned multiple champions. Can you say the same about Errol Spence? You can't. They're not in the same part of their careers. They have not accomplished the same kind of things. They're completely different. Errol Spence has beat a broken Kell Brooks, who was destroyed by Triple G. And everybody brings up Algieri. The dude's a kickboxer. Like, I'm not giving any kind of credit to that guy. So, with that being said, you may think that those words are controversial. They're not even my words. That's Crawford's words. The multi-weight division champion. He was also the undisputed light welterweight champion, and he currently holds a belt within Spence's division. And arguably, he made all those points. I'm going to throw him up on the screen. So I guess if my comment was Rudy Poo, then I guess Crawford's comments are Rudy Poo, right? Hopefully you guys liked the video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. If not, throw it down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Well, that's all I got for you today. Have a good one. Peace.